I was under the impression that I would be able to have a little bit of text on the side while reading. I could keep certain things in order. However, it's not necessary. It's nothing. Like the old saying, it's nothing. It's nothing. Hey, it's nothing. Certainly not to worry about. Probably not. We'll see. That's called checking both sides, by the way. It's a form of exercising the yin and the yang. The sky. Where should I begin? Let's start here. I was born in hell. I wasn't the only one. That's for damn sure. I'll say that again for anybody that misheard me the first time. Or maybe thinks I'm joking. And maybe they ain't never been. So they don't think it's real. There's 3 worlds in regards to what I'm talking about. There's many other worlds than that, but for the time being, let's just pay attention to these 3 different worlds. You got the heavens, you got the seas, and you have hell. Most people and animals originate from one of these 3 dimensions. Let me translate. The place I was literally born at in this physical world no longer exists. It was erased, it was deleted, it was destroyed. It was destroyed by a wave. A wave from the ocean. Not a massive tsunami, no. Much worse. A slow-moving wave. Composed of not water, greed. Not just human greed, but the greed of all the other animals that humans may include in their lives without giving them a choice. One word is pets, another word is livestock, another word for it, property. Without getting into any more details than that, one more time from the top. He was born in hell. I don't reside in hell. Not these days. I sit right outside the gates. And I try my best to keep people from going in there. Unless that's really where they think they need to be. Or want to be. Or even for the few they probably need it. In my travels and in my life, I've encountered no shortage of people that have had rough lives. They've had terrible experiences. It's not an uncommon thing at all by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I'd say the majority of people out here have probably had tough lives. They've had hard times. They've had peaks and valleys. It's only a few people that either under the impression that their lives are incredibly privileged and they're spoiled, and that could be the case. Or it is in fact the case. Most of their life has been pampered, provided to, and for all intents and purposes, people that are born into that world, born into that type of environment, let's say that's the equivalent, or that's about the best it gets. That's about the closest it gets to being born in heaven. You know, if you're born in the sea, then that's what you got. You got a lifetime full of sights and seeing. You might not ever figure out what the hell any of it means. Nomads, people that have traveled most of their life, they've never been able to settle down in one place for very long because that's just not the path that they want. So 3 different paths leading from 3 different locations. Trying to keep the phone steady as possible. Muscle fatigue is slowly battling probably rigor mortis, I don't know. So, Quill Moksha is a spirit name. It's a name that I had to choose for myself because I had shed the final layer between me and whatever the rest of this is. What does that mean? I'll break it down another way. You go through enough near-death experiences and you have a certain amount of capabilities, with the right type of help and support, you can get to a level where most things that you have to do, even if they're daunting or tedious or meticulous, can be done relatively effortlessly. That's what they mean when they talk about mind over matter. You know, if you had to fill up an Olympic-sized swimming pool with an eyedropper, you know, the little joints you get at the store I think I got another name, right? But the little eyedropper joints, you know, you pick it up and squeeze it and sucks the water in. Like I think, I tell you what, we'll upgrade it. We'll increase the capacity. A turkey baster. Okay, imagine you getting paid to fill up an Olympic-sized swimming pool, and the only tool you got to work with is a lake that's 5 miles away and a turkey baster. How many people gonna sign up for that? How much you think that pays? How long you gonna do that before you feel like it's a waste of time? How long could you do it physically? People think, well, that couldn't be that difficult. When you walk anywhere and you do anything, you're always carrying your own weight on your shoulders. So any extra weight you carry, don't matter if it's a needle, a penny in your pocket, or a turkey baster. You hold it long enough, it'd be as heavy as a bowling ball. I started writing when I was 4 years old. Before I really could write. Just grab a piece of paper and just start scrolling. Right? It was a video game. It's called Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. It was one of the first video games that broke through to multiple generations and multiple countries. Got exposed to it. There's a moment in A Link to the Past when, if you don't have a certain book, you don't know how to speak this language. You don't know what any of these symbols mean. However, in the game, there's a library. And in that library, there's a book on the top shelf. If you figure out the puzzle, you can get access to that book, carry it around with you. What does that book appear to be? A tome, also known as a compendium. Nowadays we call them dictionaries, thesauruses, atlases. They got a lot of different names. The more you learn, the less importance names have, and the stories behind those names have more profound extrapolations. So a desire to fly. Not because you want to go, wee. No. No, a desire to fly so you can be where you need to be to help people when they need help. Being in a number of circumstances and situations that the only free space, the only personal space that you have to yourself is within your imagination. I was fortunate to learn very early. There's a lot of healthy and positive things you can do with your imagination. Just like the opposite is true. So as more and more time passed, the desire to write, and not just write well, which is to write deep, profound, and full of the essence of life. That's what it means to write well. It means to write in a way that creates a wellspring of knowledge and truth, understanding, unity. Miguel de Cervantes, the acclaimed author from the 15th century, who composed Don Quixote, or as the French say, Don Quixote. I ain't even gonna get into their Arabic name or their African name. Miguel de Cervantes, author, explorer, all around general brother from another mother. Wrote quite a bit of profound things other than Don Quixote. However, Don Quixote was meant to be a phenomenon. Absolutely different than a novelty. A writer that sets out to achieve a novelty is only writing a book so it can sit on the shelf with a certain set amount of value that you can find out by looking at the price tag. A person who writes well never writes more or less than is necessary. And they also do not, under any circumstance, create more wrong with their writing. Writing is about direction and nothing else. Otherwise, it wouldn't share a whole nother word that's written totally different, but they sound exactly the same. To write or to go right. Right is not referring to one side of your body It's referring to, are you moving in the right direction or are you moving in the wrong direction? That's what people get wrong in politics. They don't even understand the political system that we all adhere to is much older than any country or nation that is currently still existing on the planet. Go learn about your ancient brothers and sisters and their practices and how they had to resolve disputes. Go look very carefully at the symbol of the man flying on the bird in Zoroastrianism. It's not just in that culture, it's in so many other different cultures. But I ask y'all politically divided devils and fiends out there a very simple question. How many birds you know that fly around with one goddamn wing? So the people that understand the terminology don't misuse the terminology when they talk about the right wing and the left wing. Anybody that thinks you're going to be better off in society by cutting off 1/2 of your body or 1/4 of your body and throwing it in the trash or smacking it around, kicking it like you gonna get anywhere other than looking like the complete insane lunatic that you are. How many people pursue higher education and learning and they completely skip past a thing called speech? If you don't even know how to speak, should you bother to open your mouth? There's places in the world where if you don't know how to speak, you better at least understand the value of silence. Just like there's places out there where it's too expensive to speak your mind. Like heaven. Or everybody's so constantly stuck in a state of bewilderment because of all the astonishing things that have happened to them and that they've seen and terrible. That's the sea people. Not that they originate from the sea, but the majority of the human population lives on the coastline. There's people out there that are far more nomadic than others, and a lot of that has to do with your proximity to the coast. It's like people in the mountains have a tendency to be a lot more rooted. Not necessarily. There's been plenty of people that launched all sorts of different expeditions and campaigns from the mountains, nomadic mountain people. I chose the word Quill due to the fact that it wasn't that long ago that instrument, the bird feather quill, being used as a prolific instrument. There's also the fact that over the years I choose more and more isolation. I picked up barbs over the years. I can be spiky. I can be sharp. I can be painful to be around. And that's only because what you see is what you get. And a lot lot of people just see what they want to see, hear what they want to hear. So Quill also refers to the porcupine barbs. I got the chance to collaborate with a gentleman many, many, many years ago. And our collaboration only went as far as maybe a couple of conversations in regards to writing a story together. They had a vision for a story, and it started with a particular main character that had, for lack of better words, the affinity of a porcupine. I found the story fascinating, quite unique. Not because of the main character. No. Even though my brother didn't have a lot of previous experience with creating and writing, they were natural. If we had finished that series, y'all probably would have watched it and enjoyed the heck out of it. I don't think we would have went more than like 26 episodes, right? However, I think y'all would have found the premise and the idea interesting. We never decided on a name, right? I think they had a couple different ideas for a name, but we didn't necessarily need to have a name for it. However, the name Quill originally stuck out to me due to the main character's backstory and their martial arts specialty. So just like an actual porcupine quill, that got stuck in my brain. Moksha. First time I encountered that word was reading Journey to the West for the first time. It's actually briefly mentioned for the first time in that chapter 6. I didn't know much about it. Didn't pay much attention to it. It's just a name. I wasn't overly concerned with the backstory behind that name. So more time goes on. Eventually I encountered this word. Well, I encountered it before too. This word called yaksha. Yaksha. Moksha and yaksha. You can go look up what both of these things are. What they've been in the past. It was not just what the words mean. It's how they resonate with you. Over the last year and a half, it'll be 2 years, almost 2 years here soon. Yeah, for over the last year and a half, there was a lot of arduous time that was put towards the development and designing and writing and scripting of a video game. If you want to check it out, it's the first video that I uploaded on this channel if you want to see how the gameplay for it goes. However, that ain't got much to do with the price of tea in China, so let me continue. I could publish the name under my birth name, the name that was given to me by my caretakers, the name that has traveled me through the first half of my life. But that name has very little value or meaning to me. A simple sound has more meaning to me than the name that I was given at birth by my guardians, or even the name I chose for myself. And what sound is that? It's this sound right here. L. Also known as the letter L. Each letter is a unique matrix of vocal cords, calligraphy, and actual raw physics. We peel back what we oftentimes think as superficial. The reason people say talk is cheap is because it takes a lot of it to add up to much of anything. So if you've been listening to a person for 12 years and all of a sudden you realize they're full of shit, they don't know what they're talking about, you realize you've been wasting your time listening to that person. You ain't got to do anything other than laugh. Yeah, you could have been wasting your time doing a whole lot of other terrible things than that. At least you ended up with a lesson at the end of the day. Be more careful. The truth is the word is the truth. It's a maxim. And just to take it one step further, what one means by the truth is the word is the truth, lies are just that. That's the reason they're called lies. So you have words, and then you have lies. So you got to pay attention to when a person's throwing lies at you, but they sound like words. Big difference. If you pay close attention, as the old saying goes, the devil's always in the details. Sure, the devil could force you to dance with him. However, they'd rather you show up willingly. Don't ever forget that at the end of the day, the devil's on God's payroll. And what does that mean? It means the devil never left the service of the Lord. It's all them terrible, awful things that people do behind each other's backs or don't think that they're going to be held accountable for. It's already didn't happen. Heaven and earth and hell are all one and the same. Ain't no difference, ain't no separation to it. It's ancient knowledge. Hell is what you go through, heaven is where you want to be. As simple as that. Hence the calculation that a day in heaven is worth a year on earth. How many people work their ass off all year just so they can get one day of vacation time? If they even get that. You add up how much rest and relaxation the average worker in history got throughout a year. They'd be lucky if all them little moments of I just got to catch my breath for a second, man. I got to sit down and rest my back. You know what I mean? Damn, I got to put this shit down for a second, let my shoulder hit. Then it's back to cracking. That's all it is. Yep. When people speak, they can spell or they can curse. The only thing in between it is either silence or lies. Appreciate you asking about my name. Hey, I was watching your video. You taking that stroll. That's all right. Glad to spend this time together. Glad to be here with you, brother. Now, before I fade into the abyss and blend into these shadows, if you ever need anything, I'll try my best. Reach out whenever you want to talk. I try to keep my office hours 24 hours, 7 days a week. For the ones that know how to actually be present, you're welcome to sit anytime. If you need our attention, just ask. No need to put an act on. Devoted to life from day one. Maybe we talk about that next time. Y'all take care. Be safe out there. Be careful and be mindful. Be more mindful. Be more careful. Be more patient. Be more kind. Even if that kindness is directed towards yourself, it's easy to put too much effort into a thing and have it cause you to be bitter. So only use as much effort as necessary to accomplish any task. Walk with peace, my brothers and sisters. Walk with unity. Wipe the devil off your mind. Put God to work. They're more than willing to do it. But you got to work with what you got, not what you don't got. been nice. Hey, Jack, if this reaches you, I've been in terrible pain my whole life too. It's a different type of pain. I mean, how many people have dreams when they're 6 or 7 years old of being whipped and beaten like a slave? And how many people have their dream enough times that you done gotten beaten and whipped enough times that you're tired of it? So you whip yourself into shape, and the rest is history. Y'all don't let nobody put hands on you. They ain't got no business putting hands on you. Y'all take care of yourselves. Oftentimes you gotta fight for dignity, because you're dealing with undignified people. But if they don't want to give you the dignity that you deserve, because you're alive. It's only two states that are out there. Only two personalities that exist. Either alive, which is infinite possibilities and infinite potential, or go ahead and close that door up. We done with that shot for today. Y'all get a chance, go read The Black Snowman. It's a kid's story. And it was one of the most important pillars that kept me from being crushed by the sky. Not you, Sky. No. Much different Sky. One that is not so bleak these days. However, we'd be foolish to not watch the horizon. Pay homage to our ancestors for what they went through. And try to get this thing going in the right direction. We almost there, y'all. We've almost broke through to a new era. However, we can't give up yet. So y'all stay together. Y'all take care of each other. Y'all do the right thing. If you don't know what the right thing is, you better figure it out sooner than later. Life's too short to be stupid. Love y'all. Take care. Peace.